Okay, sorry for the delay, everyone. There were some technical difficulties with the audio. We've got it figured out now, so appreciate your patience there. So let's go ahead and get started. The topic here is what marketing should we be doing during the downturn? And obviously, these are unprecedented times. People are looking for information and advice on how to navigate various aspects of dentistry. And so, what I wanted to focus on was just giving some really practical advice based on my experience in terms of what would be very helpful to to navigate here and to help you work your way through this process. So what I want to do is give briefly some background information about myself, just for those of you on the webinar today who maybe don't know who I am or who WEO Media is. We'll really dig into kind of what does the ideal marketing program look like, pre-COVID-19, and then what should we be doing now? There are things that I think create real advantages. Anytime there's a big shift, there are opportunities that are created. And so what I want to focus on today is really talking about the things that you can do to take advantage of this opportunity that we're in right now. May not seem like an opportunity, but in my mind, actually, there's some opportunity to be taken advantage of. So my background briefly, so I'm one of the co-founders and partners at WEO Media. WEO Media is a national dental marketing agency. And we started the company back in 2009. And since that time, we've worked with over 1,000 dental practices around the country. Dentistry is all we do. In fact, Dentistry Today named me one of their top CE leaders and consultants this year and last year, which is pretty nice. In the industry, I do a lot of speaking at a lot of the national events. I'm a published author, and a lot of experience in this space. And so what I'm going to share with you today is just based on experience working with hundreds of practices over the years. Real quickly about WEO. So what I'm going to talk about today is based on a lot of data, based on a lot of experience. So our company is a full service agency, which means we provide over 20 different marketing services and websites and SEO and everything else. And so what I'm going to share today is really based on a lot of that experience. Also, our company has been fortunate to win the ADA's or the Seller and Best of Class Award for websites and online marketing 4 years in a row. So that's a little bit about us. That's who we are, and that's why I'm going to be talking about this stuff today. So let's start with, what does the ideal marketing program look like? So in normal times, right, you've got several segments that I like to think about. Number one, you've got internal marketing where you're doing patient referrals and it's kind of working on your internal operations and internal reality. That's really focusing on how do we generate referrals from our existing patient flow and things like that. Second kind of quadrant there, section would be online marketing, which would be your website, your search engine optimization, your social media and Facebook and all those things. We'll talk about that. And then there's a third component in a normal situation with a normal marketing program, which we did direct to consumer. This would be mailers and things of that nature. So this is kind of what it would look like normally. Again, under normal circumstances, we always would recommend people spend between 3% to 5% of their revenue focused on marketing, on one of these or all three of these aspects of marketing. There's an organization you may or may not have heard of called the Academy of Dental CPAs. It's a really solid group of CPAs around the country, and they represent over 9,000 practices collectively. And they also echo these recommendations in terms of spending 3 to 5, even 7% of budget on marketing. The other thing in an ideal program, when things are working well, we typically see new patient acquisition costs in the $100 to $150 range per patient, which is a really good return on investment. And so when things are humming along nicely under normal times, about 2 months ago and before that, this is kind of what a program would look like. Not now. So what do we do now? Things have changed dramatically. Obviously, most states now are under quarantine orders, basically, to stay home. Most practices across the country are now shut down, with the exception of emergency dentistry. And so what should we be doing now in these times? Well, we're going to talk about that. I'll talk about internal and direct consumer, then we'll focus on online marketing a bit, and then some recommendations at the end. And also we'll be taking questions and answers at the end. I've already had several questions come through, so I'll address questions at the end. So let's start with internal marketing. Well, obviously when the office is closed, this is not really feasible how you would normally do it. However, I would take this time to think about when your practices open back up again, what are some cool type of things you can do, some welcome back campaigns to really make it fun, giveaways, maybe have contests, drawings, stuff like that. Just really make it a big deal when you open up and really welcome your patients back with enthusiasm. That will, I think, generate probably a lot of buzz and typically referrals. one of the things that we find is most effective for generating referrals from existing patients is to do something noteworthy, give them an experience that they will remember and talk about. Giving away products or like, oh, here's some movie tickets, or here's this or that. A thing is not nearly as memorable as an experience. So what you want to do is really give people an experience when they come in, and can get creative with that. There's lots of things you can do there, but I would encourage you to take this time now to plan out your strategy. What are you going to do when you reopen? How are you going to welcome people back and really make it fun? Now, direct-to-consumer marketing, this traditionally consists of things like direct mailers, print ads. More aggressive groups might even be doing radio, television, things of that nature as well, newspaper ads and so forth. Right now, I think you really probably shouldn't be doing any of this, to be honest. I really don't see a benefit to be doing any of this at this point. So this is hopefully fairly obvious to everyone, but I think what you should be doing is focusing on certain aspects of online marketing, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. But as for this, for now, I think with internal marketing and direct consumer marketing, they're pretty much shut down for now, but there are some things we can think about with online marketing. Now, online marketing is interesting because there are some services that make sense to turn off, and we'll talk about those. And there are other services that actually make a lot of sense to keep on and even put the pedal to the metal to take advantage of the opportunities here. We'll talk about those as well. So when we talk about online marketing, this is something I teach in a lot of my courses. We talk about the 6 pillars of online marketing. And I'm going to go through each one of these things and give specific recommendations what you should or should not be doing in these areas. So when we talk about the 6 pillars, we're talking the website's kind of that foundational base. Search engine optimization. This is really a process, an ongoing process to drive Google rankings, to get your website to rank highly on Google. We'll talk about that. Pay-per-click campaigns. These are paid ads. So when you do a Google search or a Yelp or a Bing search, whatever, the ads that show up at the top are paid ads. And so those can be effective ways to drive traffic to your website. Online reputation and reviews. This would be trying to generate reviews in the major review sites. Google, Yelp, Facebook, and Healthgrades, and we'll talk about that as well. What can you be doing with social media, and what can you be doing with videos, right? So in normal times, we would want to have all 6 of these things going, guns ablaze and full speed ahead, because how it normally works, again, in normal times, is patients will typically look at 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of information before they decide who they should contact to be their dentist, who should make an appointment with. Now, because most practices are closed, a lot of this is a lot less relevant, at least temporarily. So we'll talk about each of these pillars here briefly. So number 1, the website. Most people, I think, intuitively understand you really should keep your website live during this downturn for several reasons. Number 1, you want to make sure that patients are aware that you're still in business. What are your office hours? How do they contact you? That type of thing. That's critical. If you are serving and seeing emergency patients, then make that really clear on your website. And there's some other things we'll talk about with live chat and teledentistry, and so we'll talk about some other things here in a few minutes as well to further take advantage of your website. But in terms of just the 6 pillars, you really need to keep your website live. Another problem with this too is for some people that actually want to turn their website off, and believe it or not, we've had requests from some of our clients to turn off their websites, which is an extraordinarily bad idea. Because when you launch a brand new website, it takes a month or 2 for Google to index that website so it starts showing up in search results. So when you turn a website off, you're basically throwing away the history of everything you've built over the years for where that website used to rank. And so it's going to take a long time for that website to start showing up in search results. So the worst thing you can possibly do marketing-wise right now is turning off your website. Please, please keep it on. That's just a critical step 1. Now, when it comes to SEO, search engine optimization. So this is something that there's a lot of misunderstanding around, and I'm seeing a lot of actually bad advice on this. I'm hearing from CPAs and consultants and people that are saying, oh, you need to cut costs, you need to turn off all your marketing. And I agree with most marketing, but SEO, that's a really bad piece of advice. Do not turn off your SEO, and I'll show you why here. First of all, search engine optimization, what is it and how does it work? Well, you have to understand Google looks at over 200 different things to determine how to rank your website in a search result. And it rewards people who are persistent and consistent over time. There are lots and lots of things that Google looks at. There are things on your website, which we call on-page optimization. That would be like your website content, your code, things like that, the HTML code and so forth. There are a lot of things away from the website. There are directories, there's social media engagement, there are review sites, there are backlinks to your website. There are lots of things that are away from the website. There are many, many, many things that a good SEO program will be doing, and these things take time to ramp up, and they take time to gain traction. So if you turn off SEO, you're losing and throwing away most of what you've previously built up. I'm going to show you a case study here in a minute too to demonstrate exactly what I'm talking about. But think of it this way. So I'm a distance runner. I like to run marathons, and I've even done some ultra marathons, and those are not fun. Marathons are a little more reasonable. Think about it as if you're running a marathon. Okay, your marketing is like a marathon, especially with SEO. So if you're running a marathon and all of a sudden everyone around you starts sitting down or walking, but you keep running, that's exactly what's going to happen right now for people who keep doing SEO. Because almost every dentist I've talked to or I'm hearing from is wanting to turn off their SEO, which is a really bad decision, a really bad mistake. Because what's happening is everybody's turning it off. And so it's a huge opportunity when everybody else is taking a break. It's a huge opportunity for you to keep the pedal to the metal, because look, when patients come back, you're going to want to be on page 1 of Google. In fact, you're going to want to be at the top of page 1 on Google if possible, because that's where the vast majority of patients are going to go. So if you are following the herd and saying, just my advisor, my consultant, whoever told me to turn off all my marketing, and you follow their advice, you're going to be like everybody else who's doing that. Well, the few people who are smart and actually keep the pedal to the metal on their SEO, they're going to continue to shoot up the rankings during these next few months. In fact, this is something I've been telling people, look, there will probably never be a better time to make rapid gains in your Google rankings than in the next few months. This is a huge opportunity to take advantage of this time, because most people are taking their foot off the gas. It takes 6 months, 12 months, a year, 2 years sometimes to get ranking on page 1 with good solid SEO. And if you turn it off, you can drop like a rock. And so this is something that's really important to understand too, is that I'm talking about, when I say SEO, I'm talking about real SEO. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Real SEO means that you're writing unique content for the website. It doesn't have duplicate content. If you have code optimization, so you're optimizing meta code and schema code, there's lots of things we do in the code of the website, because Google reads the code of the website. So that's super important. You've got to optimize all these things. You have to go through over 100 different directories and make sure they're all consistent for your name, your address, your phone number. If they're inconsistent, then you're going to have major problems trying to rank well. There's link building, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. I was talking with a doctor in California yesterday, and she said, Ian, I'm paying about $400 a month to my company, and it's a company you've probably all heard of. They're pretty prevalent in our industry. And she said, I'm paying $400 a month, and they're doing my SEO. And I heard that you said, keep doing SEO. So should I keep doing SEO with them? And I said, well, let me throw in a caveat there, an asterisk. Keep doing SEO if they're actually doing real SEO. When I looked at her website, her code had not been optimized at all. Her website had 93% duplicate content, meaning that same website content exists on many, many other websites. Well, that's useless. That's not beneficial for SEO. It needs to be unique, meaning it's only written for your website. So when I looked at her website, it's like your directories are not optimized, your code hasn't been touched, your content's all duplicate. Like literally they're doing nothing for your SEO. And I said, what have they told you that you're doing for their SEO? And they said, well, they don't tell me anything. They just send me a report with my traffic. Exactly, because they're not doing SEO. So I explained to you, here's what real SEO looks like. This is what Google rewards. This is not my opinion. This is objective fact. You can go on any SEO website, any SEO blog. They will all say the same stuff. This is what works. So if they're not doing this, they're not doing SEO. So what I'm saying is, if you're paying for an SEO, there's no value to keep doing it if they're not actually doing real SEO. Now here's an example of it. This is a case study. It's one of our former clients, actually still a current client, but they paused SEO a while back. And this is what happens with SEO when you stop doing it. So we launched the website. The client was signed up for SEO, and the graph here is showing phone calls. So these are phone calls that are generated from the SEO, because we use a tracking number on the website. And what you can see is month over month, every data point is a month. So this graph is 28 months. It's over 2 years of data right here, okay? When SEO starts, you can see rankings are increasing, so the phone calls are going up, up, up. Now what happens is when you stop doing SEO, like I talked about, you stop doing the directories and link building and the reviews and the content and all these kinds of things, look what happened to their phone calls. It dropped like a rock. They went from getting over 200 phone calls, 150 to 230 phone calls a month, and down to around 20 phone calls. That's what happens when you stop SEO. And so this is why I'm encouraging people, do not stop doing SEO during this downturn. You want to put the pedal to the metal and keep doing it, because when the patients come back, you want to be as high on page one as you can, because that's where the phone calls are going to flow. That's where the new patients are going to come from. If you stop, this is how quickly Google penalizes you when you stop. Data doesn't lie. The person dropped like a rock in the rankings. I checked a couple weeks ago just on this client. They're not even on the first 7 pages now. They were middle of page 1 when they stopped doing SEO. So this is a cautionary tale. I would highly encourage you to keep doing SEO if you're doing real SEO. If you're not doing real SEO, then it doesn't matter. Okay, that's SEO. The third thing is pay-per-click. Now, pay-per-click, these are the paid ads where when you come on and you do a Google search, and at the very, very top of the page, there'll be typically 3 or 4 listings, and those are paid ads. Then below that, you'll have a map with typically 3 or 4 listings in the map. And then below the map, you'll typically have about 10 organic listings. So SEO deals with the map and the organic listings. Those ads at the very top, those are PPC, pay-per-click ads. Okay, those are paid traffic. And they can be very effective if you run the campaigns properly, or they can be a huge waste of money if you don't run the campaigns properly. I've got some webinars coming up in a couple of months that's going to really dig into SEO and PPC for you guys. But for now, just understand this. If you're doing paid campaigns right now, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to do campaigns in the traditional sense, in terms of I want new patients, dental implants, orthodontics, sleep, whatever the things that you typically would want to focus on. Again, if you can't see normal patients, it makes no sense. This PPC falls in the same category as direct-to-consumer marketing. It makes no sense to spend money on this right now. So if you're currently doing this, I would turn it off entirely, except if you are seeing emergency patients. And I would highly encourage you, if this fits for your model, if it fits for your practice, I'd highly encourage you to consider this. What we're seeing with our clients, those who are keeping some of the PPC budget active, and then we can do ads that show something like, we're open, seeing emergency patients now, or call us now, we're open for emergency patients, or something like that. Patients don't know where to go. Everybody is assuming their dentist is closed. So they're not typically going to your website. Some of them will, but a lot of them are just doing a Google search, emergency dentist. Your ad will pop up and you'll see a lot of dentists. I was talking with a doctor on the East Coast 2 weeks ago who was advising on this. He said, yeah, we're doing this. He said, I am busy because everybody else is not advertising for this. I've got some ads going. He's like, I'm seeing a lot of patients right now. And he's like, hey, great for you. Because again, every consultant, every CPA, every doctor is like, oh, turn everything off, turn everything off. Well, that's not wise advice in my opinion. Turn off some things, but you need to be smart about what you leave on and what you leave off. If you want to see emergency patients, there's a huge opportunity, because not a lot of people are doing this yet, to run campaigns like this. I'll give you another example too. So my wife, just last week, she had a little bit of I wouldn't say it's a full-blown dental emergency, but she had a situation that was causing a lot of uncomfort in her mouth, discomfort. And so she called her normal doctor, and they were closed. It didn't answer the phone. There was no recording. They just, as far as she could tell, they were closed, but there was no real information that they were or weren't. So she got online, she did a search, and she found, oh, hey, this person's open. She called them as she went. It's like, hey, they were actually a great dentist. I might go see them. I've heard that from several other people as well. So I know sometimes people tend to think of emergency patients as always just a one-time hit. Hey, look, if you do a good job and you service the patient well, and you help them out in a time of need, there's a decent chance they will switch and they'll become your patient after things open back up. So I wouldn't think of these emergency patients as one and done. You've got a real opportunity to keep a fair amount of these as your patients going forward. So I would highly encourage people, if you are okay servicing emergency patients, to really consider doing paid ads, because I think the return on investment will be fantastic right now. Okay, the fourth pillar is online reputation. Now, normally we have really effective review software that sends text messages and emails to patients, to drive reviews to Google, Facebook, Yelp, and HealthGrades, right? These are the big 4 review sites in dentistry. And so normally you'd want to have some sort of software, whether it's ours or there's lots on the market. Doesn't matter who you're using, just use some sort of software that will do text and emailing to drive lots of patient reviews. That's in normal times what you'd want to do. Now, right now, If you're not seeing patients, obviously you probably should turn off that software and stop paying for it. However, there is something that you need to pay attention to as it pertains to these review sites, because again, these review sites get a fair amount of traffic. Yes, we want to focus on our website. Yes, we want our website to be updated with our new office hours and if we're taking emergency patients and how can they communicate with us. Sure, you want that stuff on there. But remember, people are still going to go, a percentage of people will go to your Google page, not your website, or your Facebook page, not your website, or your Yelp page, not your website. And so it's important, if you haven't already done this, when this webinar is done, I would log into these platforms and I would make sure they're all updated with whatever phone number you want people to be calling. Are you taking emergency patients? Yes or no, make that clear. Make sure your office hours are up to date. And if you're doing chat or dentistry, teledentistry, you know, those kind of things can be talked about there as well. And I'll explain that here in a few slides. Now, there's one other thing I want to talk about here, and this is a recent announcement that Google made within the last 10 days. So Google came out and said, due to COVID-19, what they're doing with reviews is they're currently suspending the posting of new reviews. So if you go on to any business, whether it's a dental practice or a restaurant or whatever, and you write a Google review, Google's not going to post those for the foreseeable future, okay? What Google's going to do is hold those, and then when things open back up, the indication is most likely what they're going to do is allow those to get posted eventually. But one of the reasonings in the article I read, one of the reasonings was right now it's a pandemic. Everybody is stressed out, right? Everybody is just kind of a little bit out of their minds in a sense. And so Google was afraid that this would be a situation where there would be an enormous amount of negative reviews that would be blasted on businesses, just any kind of business, right? Not just dental practices, any kind of business, right? And so they were saying, we're going to temporarily suspend this because we think that there could be a lot of damage done to businesses because people are not being patient or they don't understand that people are short-staffed or whatever. And so I kind of think that that was a pretty smart move, a pretty smart proactive move on their part. At this point, I don't know if Yelp and you know, Facebook and some of the others are following suit. If I get more information, you know, we send out a newsletter for WEO Media. So if you're not sent for our newsletter, it's a good place to kind of get some marketing updates from us. I will send that out as we get more information, but just be aware on your Google reviews, if you say, hey, I thought somebody wrote me a Google review, it didn't show up, that's why Google's holding everything right now, okay? So just kind of be aware of that. Fifth pillar, social media. So right now, shockingly, people are spending a lot of time on their phones. Imagine that, right? I'm guilty of it as well. People are spending a lot of time on social media right now. So take advantage of that. I would consider posting, you know, for your practice once, twice, maybe 3 times a week, just to stay in contact with people. I mean, it's just right now we're all isolated in our homes. You know, it's really important to try to, you know, maintain connections with people. I mean, in general, you know, the advice is, you know, do FaceTime with friends and family and try to stay connected. Go out and get fresh air. Those are all good pieces of advice. I would consider you thinking about the same thing with your patients. You know, 1 to 3 times a week, maybe just post something, but keep it fun. You know, keep it real, stay positive, and just show that you're in it with them. You know, yes, you're a doctor, but you know what, you're a person too. You've got a family too. You've got worries and concerns too. And so if you show that, hey, I'm staying positive here, you know, but you're connecting with people, that will pay dividends down the road. So that's something to consider that you could do right now. Now, our 6th pillar would be videos. And so with videos, we're really talking about, yes, Facebook, yes, YouTube, yes, Instagram, all 3 of those things make sense. When we're talking about videos, again, kind of similar to the social media conversation, you know, keep the videos short and positive. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone again soon. Hope you're doing well. You know, just kind of try to keep it positive. There are some positive news stories out there. And so if you find anything that's positive or encouraging, you know, share it on your social media, share it on a video. Those types of things you can post to your Facebook or Instagram pages. And again, just try to stay connected, try to stay somewhat active with people. And I think people will appreciate that. Now, there's more than 6 pillars. There are a lot more things you can do for digital marketing than just those kind of 6 core pillars. One of those things is a 24/7 live chat. This is a great way to kind of stay in touch with people. And I'm not talking about you or your staff, you know, answering chats 24/7. I'm talking about an outsourced service. So one of the services we provide, we have a chat partner that's a great company, and they have a whole team of chat people who staff the chats 24/7. And so they respond to to inquiries on behalf of the practice. And then there are ways to contact the doctor if the doctor wants to be texted or emailed when there's a chat inquiry that comes in. The chat dialogue is all emailed, and full dialogues emailed to the practices. So there's some pretty cool stuff. And this is, again, a great way to try to stay in contact with people. And if you're doing emergency dentistry, this could be a nice thing to consider, is putting chat on your website if you don't already have it. So we've done a fair amount of that. Another cool thing that our chat team does, the guys that we work with, they can actually integrate into your practice management software and schedule patient appointments if you want them to. If you don't, then they can just have the chat conversation and look on the schedule. Oh, it looks like doctor's got some availability on Tuesday. Let me reach out to doctor and have him or her call you. Okay, something like that. So there's ways to convert to leads, whatever you're comfortable with. Point is, if you're seeing patients right now, I'd really highly recommend considering chat. It's pretty cool. Now, in line with chat, the close cousin or relative to chat is teledentistry. I'm reading a lot about teledentistry right now. There are a number of people who are trying to put stuff out there. What's pretty cool is teledentistry, again, is a way to try to have some sort of communication with patients and at least do some initial triage and understanding, okay, what is the situation? Is this emergency? Is this something that can wait? Something I can just give advice? And there are some billing codes. I'm not a billing expert, so don't ask me the details, but I know, talking to doctors, they've informed me there are some things that you can actually bill for from teledentistry. And again, you're staying in contact with patients, you're keeping in touch, and potentially it's a way to, again, grow your practice. So one of the steps that's really nice, if you are seeing patients, put on your voicemail, like your normal office voicemail, something to the effect of, hey, just wanted to let everybody know we're staying safe and doing fine. We are servicing emergency patients right now. And if you want to engage with us or schedule, please visit our website where we've got, the 24/7 chat, teledentistry, whatever you've got on there. So use your voicemail as a way to direct people to the active engagement tool, which is your website plus chat plus teledentistry, whatever you're doing. So consider that. It's a way, again, it's a way to stay in contact and also have some revenue flowing in. Our chat vendor, I just got off the phone with the CEO a few days ago. He said we can offer this teledentistry chat, the whole thing, for free 60-day trials to people on our site. So if you happen to be an existing WEO Media client on this, please send me. I'll have my contact information at the end of this. Please send me an email and I'll get you started on this if you want to. If you're not a WEO client, we can certainly talk to you about it as well. Now there's something else, the newsletters. Newsletters is kind of old school, and people say, oh, newsletters, Hey, you know what? Newsletters still work. They do. They have pretty good open rates, especially right now. So I would consider, if you've got some time on your hands, which I imagine if you're like me, you've probably got some extra time on your hands, consider a newsletter. You've got your patient emails. Maybe you've already got a newsletter program. Just keep doing it. Cool. If you're looking for one, there's Constant Contact and MailChimp. Those are two really nice kind of do-it-yourself platforms that you can get on there. They've got some cool ways to design templates and send stuff out. They're pretty nice. They're pretty inexpensive. If you don't want to have the hassle of doing it yourself, our company also offers a really inexpensive newsletter program as well. But regardless, this is just another strategy to consider. And the cool thing about newsletters is it's an opportunity to send out just a bit more content. So if you find some cool articles, some uplifting articles, something positive and fun, include that in your newsletter. It doesn't have to be all about the practice, right? And obviously, when you do get ready to reopen, I would be blasting that on everything: your newsletter, your website, your social media, anything you can do to let people know you're reopening. Make sure that they know that, okay? Now, how does this fit into the webinar? Well, obviously, you probably all know who this guy is. This is Dr. Anthony Fauci, right? If you've been watching the news at all in the last month, you know who this guy is. Now, the reason I put this slide in here is doctors are leaders in our community, right? I mean, Dr. Fauci, he's obviously a national leader, but you all are doctors, you all are leaders in your community. And so the general public like me, I'm not a doctor, I'm just a regular Joe. We look at doctors as leaders. These are people who have a lot of education, especially when we're in the middle of a pandemic, whether you're a dentist or an MD or an epidemiologist or whatever. Hey, you're all doctors and you can all be leaders and role models. So I would encourage you, again, when you're doing your social media posts or your newsletter, whatever you're doing, just remember, you guys are leaders. You're leaders in your community. People look up to you as doctors. And so use that as a platform to be positive and shine that positive light and say, hey guys, we're going to get through this. This is temporary. Yes, this is a tough time. Yes, this is a serious situation. We're going to get through this, right? And just try to be positive and take that leadership role in your community. It has nothing to do with getting new patients. It has everything to do with just community and doing the right thing. So I just thought I would mention that as well. Doctors are leaders. So I'm going to recap here the recommendations, and then I will go through some of the questions that have been filtering in here. So website, right? Keep it active, keep it up, and make sure it's up to date with your current hours and information. Keep SEO active, right? Like we talked about, keep it going. If you're not currently doing it, get it started. If you just canceled it, restart it. That would be something I would definitely recommend. With social media, right? Let's continue to post. Let's try to once or twice, 3 times a week, post on social media. Keep it fun, keep it light. Good way to stay in touch. If you're doing emergency dentistry, right? Consider 24/7 for communicating with them right now. They can submit questions, or they could schedule appointments for when they reopen. And then also teledentistry, which is in line with that. And last but not least, don't forget about the newsletter option. It's a nice way, again, to stay in touch with people and let them know when you're open to rescheduling. Some of you have services where it allows people to schedule online appointments. If you have that, put a link in your newsletter, blast that out to people. Say, hey, we're thinking we're going to reopen in whatever, June or May or whatever you think it is. Put that out there and say, hey, go ahead and schedule appointments. And if we need to reschedule, we'll let you know. You can do those things to try to stay in touch with people. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention too, I mentioned earlier that I published this book. So last year I published this book. It's Mastering Practice Growth, the definitive guide to growing your practice or group. And so this book is, we're giving it away for free. I'm not trying to sell books. I could care less about selling books. I want people to have the information. So what we're doing right now for any of our new clients who are coming on board, we're just saying, hey, look, we're just going to give you the book as part of like, hey, welcome to WEO kind of a thing. Because I want people to be educated about a lot of this stuff. How the 6 pillars work, and there's a whole lot more beyond digital marketing. It covers every aspect of practice growth in this book. So just kind of realize if you're looking for a book to read right now, get a hold of us and we can probably help you out with that too. So I'm going to open up the questions. I covered some information here, a lot of ground, and I did this webinar. So far, I've done this webinar to over 700 doctors, and there's a lot of good questions that have been coming in. So one of the things that okay, I'll go through the questions. So one question is, for SEO, what do you recommend? Like, how do I know what I should be doing? Basically, is what the question is. So generally with SEO, it has a lot to do with your population. So the bigger the population center you are, meaning if you are in Seattle, Washington, that's a highly competitive big city, right? If you're out in more of a rural situation, well, you don't need nearly as much SEO benefit going on there. So when you talk with your SEO provider, whether it's us or somebody else, just kind of recommend, understand that there's going to be a range of what you should be doing, but whoever you hire to do your SEO, just ask them a few questions and say, hey, are you going to be doing unique content? Obviously, how much is it going to cost? Are you going to be writing blogs? Are you going to be posting, updating my directories? Are you going to be helping me with reviews? What is it exactly you're going to do? Ask them those questions, because there's a lot of people who are just selling stuff that really isn't real SEO. The next question, teledentistry. How does teledentistry work, and who would you recommend? There are a number of platforms out there. Honestly, I am still in the research process myself of learning what all the platforms are available. So if you have a question about teledentistry, again, my information is right here on the screen. Go ahead and send me an email. As I get information updates on this stuff, I'll either email you back directly, and for people who are on our newsletter, we'll put those updates in our newsletter as well. Another question here on social media. If I have, this is an interesting question that I get sometimes in my webinars too, or my seminars. I have a personal Facebook page or Instagram page. I'll just insert the Instagram. Should I be posting on that, or should I be posting on my practice page? I would highly encourage you to keep stuff as it pertains to dentistry on your practice page, whether it's Instagram or Facebook. There are a lot of differences between a personal page and a business page when it comes to social media platforms, a lot of benefits. And so you can have a lot more functions and features on those pages. So I would really try to keep business and personal. That would kind of just be some good advice, I think, for that. See another question here. This is a question on videos. Okay, so with videos, what do you recommend with videos? So right now, I'll answer it like right now, and then I'll follow that up with, in normal times, here's some other stuff you could do once the world reopens. Okay, so right now, as it pertains to videos, what I think probably some good advice would be, you got a smartphone, just do the little selfie videos. Keep them short, 10 to 30 seconds. Post those if it's, again, related. If you're wanting your patients to see this, post it to your Facebook business page or Instagram business page. And just like I said, keep them fun. Keep them, maybe you're out for a walk, getting some fresh air in nature, keeping your social distancing in place, right? Do fun stuff like that and just post some videos once, twice, 3 times a week, something like that. Post it to those 2 platforms. That's, I think, all you need to do for now is just selfies. Now, when the world reopens and we all get back to business here, the types of videos that are really impactful for your practice marketing, the most important is a practice overview video, okay? That's when you want to have a professional videographer crew come in. Usually it's like a half-day process. They're going to shoot some A-roll and B-roll. What that means is A-roll is when you're interviewing the person directly, the person's talking into the camera, okay? B-roll is when we're taking, panoramic shots of the office, the inside, the outside, the waiting room, your equipment, all that kind of stuff. Or it could be even action shots, like the front desk person is, talking with a nice smile to a patient or something like that. So all that gets merged into about a 60-second to not more than about 2 minutes. So 1 to 2 minutes overview video. Put that on the homepage of your website. It's really important for SEO. It's even more important for converting leads. I didn't get into a lot of the digital marketing stuff today, but one of the things that's really important about videos is it helps you convert traffic from your website into new patient leads, which is really nice. And so put that overview video right on the homepage. Of course, have it hosted on YouTube as well. Another quick caveat about videos, we always recommend posting and hosting your videos on YouTube for a couple reasons. Number one, Google owns YouTube. And so Google search, as we all know, is the big gorilla. Google's about 65 to 70% of all search in North America is on Google. And Google owns YouTube, so YouTube videos can be integrated in Google search. So that's one big reason, is because of Google. Now, another cool thing about putting your videos on YouTube, even if it's your selfie videos, by the way, put everything on YouTube. And then when you do that, if you can go in, when you post a video on YouTube, there's a section when you set up the video, you can type in a title of the video and you can type in a little description. If you'll go in and type out some content there, most people don't take the time to do this, but if you do, actually that's what the SEO benefit comes in, because Google can't watch the video, but Google can read the words about what you wrote about the video. And so go in and type, kind of some of the keywords you want to rank for, post it on there. And what's cool about these videos, let's say you've got 20 videos on your YouTube channel, and all 20 of them you've gone in and written some content and some keywords in the description, okay? As far as Google looks at that, that's kind of like having 20 additional little mini websites floating around out there that could be found in the search result. So when you do a search, for dental implants, San Francisco or whatever, sometimes videos show up in the organic search. There's always a video tab you can search as well, and video gets a lot of traffic. So YouTube actually gets almost as much traffic as Google search, believe it or not. So I would highly encourage people to continue, if you're going to do videos, post them on YouTube, optimize them with descriptions, and realize that could drive a lot of stuff to your practice. So keep that in mind. Videos can be very helpful. Okay, what else do we have here? Website security. Okay, so I didn't address that, but let me just briefly talk about website security. There's several things when it comes to website security. Some people, when they talk about security, they're asking about HTTPS, so like a secure website. You guys probably see when you go to a website and you look up at the domain and it's www.whatever.com. At the beginning of that, right, it says HTTP. If it says HTTPS, that means it's a secure page, and HTTP means it's not a secure page. Now, that doesn't actually pertain to hacking so much. People think that's about hacking. It's really not so much about hacking. It's really about having an SSL certificate. It's a secure connection between the website and the browser and the server, but it doesn't necessarily mean you won't get hacked. Now, there's also an SEO benefit. About a year ago, Google came out and said their strong preference would be for all websites to migrate towards HTTPS. So that's something to really consider. So if you're not sure, just pull up your website and look at the URL up above and where it says HTTP. If you don't have an S, I'd highly encourage you, just contact your website company, ask them to add a certificate, and so that it's called an SSL certificate, that would upgrade you to basically having a secure site as far as HTTPS. So that's kind of a nice thing to do. It helps your Google rankings, and it's going to be an important thing long term. The other thing that's really critical with modern websites is having it be fully mobile responsive. So not surprisingly, it's about 60 to 70% of all website traffic now is on mobile devices. Mobile primarily meaning phone, also meaning tablet, right? Now, If your site is not fully mobile responsive, then that's going to be a problem not only for your rankings, but also for people's just experience. People come to your site on their phone. If it's not formatted properly, then it's going to be a problem. They're not going to use it, right? So you want to make sure that it's fully mobile responsive. If you're not sure, here's a tip I can give you. If you don't know if your site's really mobile optimized, go on to Google, just open up Google, okay, and type into Google, you type Google mobile friendly test, okay, you type that in. Now that's going to bring up a little box that you can type in. Then you just type in your website address, www.whateverit is.com. It'll take Google about, I don't know, 10, 20 seconds to run the test. And it'll show you, Google will say, okay, yes, you get a green, check mark. Yep, you're secure, or you're mobile friendly. That's really the best way to know if you're mobile friendly, because if you're not, then you're going to lose a lot of traction with your patients coming to your site. The other thing that's a problem is Google ranking. So again, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, Google changed how they analyze sites for rankings. And they said, okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to primarily focus on your mobile website to determine your rankings. It used to be always before that, it was always the opposite of that. They always looked at your site, how it looks on a desktop or a computer, and that's how they would analyze your site, and that would determine your rankings. But then as the amount of mobile traffic, crossed 50% and 60% and keeps climbing, Google said, well, it doesn't really make sense for us to put the priority, the preference, on the desktop version. It really should be on the mobile version. So now what we found is if you don't have a mobile responsive website, it just kills you in many ways. Google penalizes you for rankings, so it shows up much lower in Google search rankings, but also you have a much lower conversion rate when patients or potential patients come to you on a mobile phone and your site doesn't render easily, so it's not easy to read or easy to click to call. You're going to lose a lot of potential patient flow that way. So those are some tips with websites I didn't address earlier in the webinar, but those are things you really want to consider for now. So it looks like we've got a couple more questions, but what I'll do is we'll kind of wrap it up here for today. I wanted to target about 45 minutes. That's about where we're at. So if I didn't answer your questions, again, my email's here on the screen. Just please send me an email. I'll make sure I reply to everybody's questions. And if you have questions about what I covered today or just marketing topics in general, always happy to answer questions and be a resource for people. So I hope you got some good information today. Hope you're all staying safe and entertained, hopefully, during this downtime. So I want to thank you very much for attending the webinar today. And if you want to attend future webinars we're putting on, you can go to the webinar page on our website. We've got them all listed there that you can register for future webinars as well. They're all free. So I hope you're staying safe. Thanks for joining, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.